Hello, my name's Roger. This is my first video, and in this video I'm going to be making a diorama in which some Death Corps of Krieg try and blow up some orcs. Well, this is me entering the studio, so my continuity is already over the shop here, but you get the idea. Scraps, working on some scraps, got some cardboard, ripping it apart, cutting it into shape, trying to get a sort of corrugated sheet metal look. Sticking a few bits of wood in, bits of offcuts of wood. Now some of the cardboard I've cut up, glue it in place. Super glue is a theme of all these videos. It's basically what I use for pretty much all the bonding that I need to be doing. Glue these coffee sticks in place, pinched these from a local coffee shop, and then add in the roof. That's a dry fit, looks okay. Cut a few holes now and slot these sticks through. And then glue them in place, and there's the base shape done. Doesn't look too bad, if I do say so myself. Let's secure this structure a bit now. More coffee sticks, more super glue. What's not to like? Here's some twine from the garden. Tie this around the joints to make it look like they've been tied in place. Glue over them, and yeah, there's the base structure again. A bit more detail, not too bad. Bit of chicken wire. The chickens did escape, but hey, they've had a good life. Drilling a few holes now. Putting some pins in here to make it look like these planks have actually been nailed into place over time. Bit more super glue, why not? And yeah, the base shape is taking shape. Put this wood in place. Rough up these top sticks here now. Hello. Terror section's now done. You've just seen that on the last clips or shots. Onto the trench now. So for that I'm going to be using some of this foam, SPS foam, STD foam, one of them, maybe not STD. But yeah, anyway, going to be using this, going to cut a C shape out of it so you can see the men inside. Speaking of men, I need to paint one or two more. I'm going to be using some existing models that I've already painted, which are just sat on that shelf. But there's one or two more that I need just to give it a bit more life, I suppose. So yeah, onto the trench. Got my hot foam wire cutter. It's a long title. Right, he's waffling on a bit, so let's just get on with this. Hot wire cutter, look at that. It's good fun to use this. I could have used it all day. So cutting the C shape out here. This is meant to be the tunnel. There's a nice shot of that and my ass in the background. Just like to state for a record here that this shot glass, which was bought in the red light district in Amsterdam, not by me, by my friend John Smith. A few ashes here from my late granddad, bless his soul. Mix them in with a plaster and that will give me a nice texture for this that I'm putting on. So slap it all on here and there, looking good. Believe it or not, I've never been on Bake Off. Oh, in the garden now. What am I doing? An axe, let's kill someone. Only joking. Looking for scraps of wood here. These will form the support struts in this diorama. As you can see, got a nice little mixture of them here. Back in the studio, throw them down with anger. And then stuck in place with everyone's favourite, good old super glue. There we go. It's almost like I knew it was going to happen. A few more ashes there from my granddad, bit more super glue, stick it all down, looking good. And I hired a drone for this shot, cost me £20,000, but I think you'll agree it was worth every penny. Back in the studio now, painting this white. So yeah, there's some white paint going on there. Just trying to give it a nice base coat really. Now spraying it white for some reason, then black, and then with black from above with the drone shot again. Now I've got a frame. This is going to form the base for the diorama, so a bit more super glue. And stick him in place. It's at this point I realised it. I still had a lot more work to do on it and I shouldn't have sprayed it black. So yeah, let's see how I get on with that. So I might put a few more of my granddad's ashes here now around the base, fill the gap in and spray it black. I told you, should have done it all in one go.
Quick dry fit here, and yep, that's wobbly as hell, so we're going to need to sort that out.
So let's spray the tower black, should have done this a while ago, and once that's done we will fix it in place with a bit more glue and dirt, and that is now firmly fixed in place. Just need to spray it black. Use some cheap paint here, and to be honest I regret doing it because this paint was absolute rubbish. Mixed a bit of black in to give the interior of the tunnel a darker feel, but this paint was absolute garbage and it dried like plastic. Putting a few skulls on here from the Games Workshop skull range, glue them in place. You can never have too much super glue. Get these in place, and now we're going to start painting the tower. So again, just more of a wash sort of style coating on all the wood. I think this was just a Vallejo brown. I had so much Vallejo brown, I just get rid of it really. Washing in a bit of brown with the wet paint already. Give it a bit of texture, a bit of different tone going on. Dry brush. Let's get dry brush in here, all over the metal. Oh my god, what have I done here? Well, that looks awful. So we will, I don't know, we'll sort that out later. But it looks like bird poo. Give the skulls a bit of a first base coat here. Not the neatest job I've ever done, if I'm honest. But yeah, it's looking okay. And onto the washes. Get that up the roof. Make it look a bit more weathered. And on the metal grills here. Looking for a rust look. A bit more paint here now on the support struts. Again, it's quite a washy, watered down paint here. I don't want a thick blocky colour. And onto the dry brushing. This is where hopefully we'll bring it all together a bit more now. So again, a sort of khaki dry brush here, all over. Oh, I forgot to paint that bit there. The interior wood, so give that a rough base coat. No one's going to see inside that. And onto the washing on the rope to try and sort out that mess I made earlier. A bit of Nuln Oil now. A nice good dollop of wash all over that. As you can see, this paint I bought, this cheap paint in the background area, is like, it's dried like plastic, and you know, I don't think I'll be using it again. Dry brush on the wood now, put a few markings on it, like it's come from somewhere, got a bit of life. I think this is a white dry brush here, and I probably shouldn't use white, but I will be using this again. It is the slime sort of effect paint. Putting this here, there and everywhere. Again, trying to add a bit of definition, bit of tone, bit of interest. Bit more of the slime up here. I'm going to get on with it. Go on, put it in. Missus. There we go. It's looking okay. It's looking lived in, looking like Orks have tried to build it, which is the main idea really. Reasonably happy with that. Just a final bit of painting on these skulls now. Bit more painting on him there. Hello mate. Brighten his head up and him. A little bit more dry brushing at the front end here and on the skulls. You can see they've come up quite nicely now.
That's the model pretty much done now, so hopefully you enjoyed watching that and didn't fast forward too much, because I'll know if you did. But just got to paint the final miniature now, which is a Death Korps of Krieg. So if you are interested in how I paint one, and I ain't no award-winning painter, I have won a few awards, just not for painting, then this is how I do it.
Okay, if you're interested then, this is how I painted one of these Krieg guys. I do love these models.
Just remembered, I'm not going to bother listing all my paints I use, because, well, two reasons. First one, life's too short, and number two, I don't really have a number two, but I mean, if you want to know what I'm painting, ask me, or if I'm using a light blue, hey, use a light blue. If I'm using a black, use a black or even a brown. But yeah, just a heads up.
Well, that was a rude interruption, but yes, back to this. So I'm just going with a light blue here. It is Games Workshop paints, but I can't remember the colour. So base coat of blue on, a bit of a sort of mid-brown for the boots here now, just slapping it on. You can see the brush I got. It's quite big. It hasn't even got a decent tip on it, so I'm not sure what's happened there. Now these bits of, what do you call them, fabric around the leg, now the trousers, just giving a grey base coat there. Get it all slapped in. I think the key with painting is from my point of view at least anyway, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't want to be spending 40 hours on a model. You know, I want to be spending a couple of hours on a model and moving on to the next. I think that's enough for any model really. And on the back now we're doing all the leather, this brown, again it's like a Games Workshop brown I think, but hey, brown's a brown. And on this cylinder thing here, not sure what he keeps in there, but something cylinder-y. Now the blacks, which is the pipe coming from his gas mask, and the gun, and his glove. And now the eyes, so wobbling there like a maniac, but you get the idea. Get it on the eye. Now on the silver, just silver on the shoulder pads, the sword thing, his helmet. Yeah, get all that silver on. It's actually a bit lumpy, this silver. I probably should have mixed it down a little bit really. On the gun, just do a few bits there. Break up the black, create a bit of contrast and detail. Messed up there, I need to fill that one in with a bit of a wash. Bit more on the gun. And that's the very rough base coat done. What's it, 4 or 5 colours there? That'll do for a lot of people. Stick a wash on it, it'll look even better. Wash is on. That don't look too bad, does it really? That'll do for a lot of people. We'll just give it a little bit more detail now. So back with the original blue, just picking out the raised areas and not really the detail, the bit that sticks out. Again, I'm not a paint person, I don't know, you can see what I'm doing. More raised areas. Paint's a bit thick there really. Should have got back on the wet palette and watered it down a bit, but soldier on. No one will ever know, apart from anyone that watches this video. Bit more there. Yeah, paint's really sort of thickening up now. Stick a bit of water on it. Come on, what are you doing? Right, a bit more on the arms, a bit more water on that brush now. That's better. So you can see already that there's a bit of contrast coming out now, a bit of definition on the blue, which looks all right really. A bit more on this arm, on the old elbow. Nice-ish. Dry brush. This works quite well, I find, on the black areas on this miniature because it's got a quite muddied Warzone look to it anyway. So the dry brush here is picking out the detail on the gas mask pipe, the raised areas on the guns, and his glove. Bit more, I slap that dry brush on. Looking alright, isn't it? Considering, I think that's not too bad. Now picking out the detail on the fabric on his legs, whatever they are, let me know the name. The original colour back on the khaki, just picking out the raised areas here. God, paint's thick, isn't it? Look at it. And then a bit more detail on his leg. Looking okay. A bit more on the other side of the sleeping bag thing. With my renowned thick paint. That's Vallejo paint, that is actually. Now the grey, the original grey, just back over the trousers, picking out the sort of the creases, the high points of each crease, avoiding the crotch because it's in shadow, and again the high points of any metal areas, just dabbing it on there. Look at that, on his helmet. Not looking too bad, picking out the sides, again the other shoulder pad, looking okay. And then the raised areas of the gun, just a touch there and there. and then the side of a brush. Touch up the buttons, give them a little dab of a really bright silver, and then a tiny bit of grey just in the eye area, just to lift that a little bit. A bit more of a khaki on the gas mask to give it a bit of definition. A bit of brown on the boot, and then back onto the leather, the original brown over the top of the wash, just picking out the corners, the sides, and any raised areas. Probably a bit too much paint on that brush there. That's a better tip. There you go. Picking out the raised areas, and just a little bit of I don't know what I'm doing there, but make it up as you go along. Cross hatching, is it called? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, we're pretty done here, I think. You know, I'm just fussing now, and you're not going to see half of this because it's going to be buried in the middle of the model I'm making. This is the angle we're going to view it from when it's placed, so just giving this side a bit more detail, a bit more work, a bit more on the back. Leave the back alone, no one's going to see it. There we go, that will do for this one. Placing these in now, so this is one I done earlier, so gluing him in, a bit fiddly. That's a previous Krieg that I painted. Here's the one I painted on this video. As you can see, I've put a metal pin in his leg and drilled a little hole. He's slotted in quite nicely, a bit of super glue, everyone's favourite. Drilling a hole here to show you how to drill a hole. And touchdown, bit wobbly, but yep, he's gone in, glue him in place. Just a few final touches now, which of course means, oh, is an orc, put him in. If you want to see any of these ones that I've painted previously to this, then check me out on Instagram. All my previous painted models are on there. Put a few hedgehogs in here, 1 or 2. You can never have too many hedgehogs. Okay, I think that's enough for this narration. Hopefully you've enjoyed this part of the video. Well, let's go back to this guy and see what he's got to say. We made it. I made it. Well, I made this, but we made it to the end of the video. If you're still here, thank you very much if you are. Yeah, it was quite a slog. No, it wasn't a slog. Quite epic, quite adventurous, quite ambitious, this one. Yeah, I probably should have scaled it back a bit and done something a bit smaller, a bit easier, a bit quicker for my first video, but you live and learn. I'm happy with it. I hope you are too. Let me know what you think. I'm sure there's a comments option somewhere on this YouTube channel. Let me know what you think. Any ideas you'd like me to see me do for future builds? The next one's already underway. It's going to be zombies, so a bit of a spoiler there. That should be out in a week or 2, all being well, famous last words. Yeah, just realised I should probably do some final shots of this one so you can at least see it in all its glory without me getting in the way. Finished. So what do you think? Is it good, bad, or somewhere in the middle? If you want to see some photographs of this one, then find me on Instagram. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.